What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Discraft's 2022 Big Rip Classic presented by Ledgestone. We're bringing you round 3 chase car coverage. I'm Kyle Simmons, joined by JC. What's up, man? On our card today, we're going to be joined by Kenny Brister, Josh Patin, Scott Watson, and Alex Brister. Starting it off on hole 1, it's a 310-foot par 3. Dog legs a bit to the right. You'll see some backhands, some forehands, as Kenny is showing you the backhand line. That looks to be a bit high. We'll see where he ends up.
Yeah, it's a little inside. Kenny, a familiar face. We got to watch him on the round 2 coverage where he played pretty well. Hopefully he can get up and down. We got a newcomer here, Josh, from Louisiana, sponsored by Westside. Probably forehanded an oddie there. Gets around the corner well. He'll have a look for a birdie. And then you got Scott Watson here from the Panhandle area, Panhandle, Florida. Sponsored by Infinite Disc, probably forehanding the Scepter there if I had to guess. And getting it in the circle as well.
Yeah, this is a pretty good starting hole. It is right there in front of you. A theme of the first 6 holes, you will hear us mention it a lot. If you are off the fairway of more than a foot or 2 feet, you may not be able to advance for it at all. As you see Kenny here, his drive a bit inside.
Gets it up there. He should have a pretty routine par. You got his cousin here, Alex, who put it a little short on the backhand. Gonna hit a stepper off the band. Unfortunate to not catch that in. He's pretty dangerous for that step putt.
Yeah, they look very confident. Good spin, a lot of pace on that. I'm sure he'll dial that in as the round goes on.
And Scott here, I have the luxury of playing with him, being in the Southeast. Very smooth player, smooth putter, as he shows you there, and just very routine.
Yeah, looks like he does that every day. And here is Josh, a bit tucked into these trees, but doesn't look like it's too much of a problem for him.
Yeah, for a normal sized guy, that probably wouldn't be a problem. Josh is, a little taller than most guys.
Putting it in with authority.
Yeah, Josh also very well-rounded player. It'll be fun to watch this group today.
Looks like Kenny did go a bit long on his approach shot, but he does have a bit of a window to capitalize on his par. And does not do so. Short off the cage. That's not the way you want to start off your round on the final day. As we see Scott tapping in his par.
That was Alex.
Yep, I'll get these names together shortly, folks.
We move on to hole 2, 331 par 3. Uphill, slight flex, backhand for most of these players probably. And looking to just stay out of the rough, just keep it dead center. Josh getting the full left side of the fairway, gets up there. He'll have probably about a 25, 30-foot putt uphill.
Yeah, the rough was just asking to be hit on that, and he dragged it away. A full flight.
Scott putting a better line on this. It's a little short. It is worth a note, Scott did have hip surgery at the beginning of, or at the end of this year, and this may be some injuries that were not taken care of prior. Alex a little overturned. I'm sure he'll get it dialed in soon though.
He's got his outfit dialed in. He's looking sharp out there.
Kenny here looking to bounce back from that bogey on the previous hole. Just a little high, but fortunate enough to stay in the fairway. I think that gesture was more of a can't really complain about that than a complaint.
Alex from that rough, able to progress pretty far up the fairway. He should be inside the circle to try and make his par.
Yeah, fortunate enough to have a window to get out of there. And you're gonna try to give this a little bit of a run. You got the uphill backstop. The runaway is not really a worry for most of these guys. You'll see Josh probably give this a full bid.
Mm-hmm. The worry on this green, as many slope greens, is catching metal and not having your disc land flat and seeing it come right back towards you.
Yeah, Josh, good putt.
Good little jumper from Josh there. That putt, I mean, that does require a good bit of power jumping uphill like that. Very good putt from Josh.
Scott from a knee, not getting his hand directly on the pole, just a bit early on that.
Yeah, it's tough with the having to stretch out like that and still get enough power to get it up the hill. Alex just a little off, kind of had the disc moving a little too left to right, and bounces off the chains out of the basket. All those carts out there kicking up some dust. It's gonna make it tough for Kenny to see this putt.
But he overcomes the smoke screen, puts that dead center for his par.
That's good right there. Just, you know, you missed a putt on the last hole. You got a downhill 20-footer and able to cash it in, no problem. Scott as well, just clean that up. And then unfortunately Alex will take the bogey. So that moves us into hole 3. 313-foot par 3. It is worth noting that Josh actually aced this hole last year on coverage. If you haven't seen that, check it out. I believe So Blue has that production, or has that that footage. He's probably looking to dial that back in again. Similar line, high enough. He's probably calling it.
Yeah, he was asking for it to do it. It was just a bit short, but he was happy with that. He's going to be inside the circle putting for his birdie. That was a really good line.
Yeah, that's what you'll see most players do, is try to hyzer flip something that really you kind of want to, if you miss, you want it to be flipping too much. You don't really want to be left on this hole. I believe that's a buzz from Scott. It's a little inside, but able to sneak past those last couple of trees to be in the circle as well. Kenny looks to probably be throwing a little flippier disc than the first two, just judging by the angle that he warmed up with.
Yep, and that gets the full flight, sliding up into the circle.
Keeps it low enough that it doesn't find the rough to the right, and he should have a pretty good look for birdie there.
3 great shots so far. Let's see what Alex can come up with.
Just a little inside, and he finds that left side that I mentioned you don't want to be at. That's got a few trees that you have to navigate around, so he seems to have a pretty open look.
Yeah, it could have been much worse. He could have kicked farther into that rough. But that was a really good approach. That should put him in routine tap-in territory.
Yeah, he didn't hesitate at all in that shot. Just walked up and threw it like he'd done it before. So Josh a little low on that 25-foot putt. Just looking to start off 3 for 3, but unfortunate to not cash that in.
Yeah, Yep, Scott trying to dial it in as he has a very similar putt to Josh. He does so. It's a good birdie on hole 3 there.
I love Scott's putt. It's just just smooth. He doesn't do a lot of body movement. It's just all wrist flick.
Comes out, a lot of rotations, not a lot of wobble.
Yeah, unless you're on the competing end of it, yeah, then it's kind of annoying, but it's pretty to look at, I guess.
Kenny taking no time to drop that one in there. Another good birdie from him.
Alex taking even less time.
2 birdies and 2 pars from our card on hole 3 as we move into hole 4. Another par 3, 321 feet. It moves to the right, the whole fairway. There are 2 trees in the middle of the fairway, as JC will tell you, are annoying. They're in the way of all the good shots. There is a slope behind the basket that can make putting a little bit tricky, or approach shots.
Scott pulling that one a little inside. Hopefully didn't kick left or right. He should. Yeah, and really there's no way to tell if he did or didn't, but yeah, the trees in the middle are annoying just because they're perfectly placed. I mean, the shot that most players want to throw, see as that's a little inside, is going to shape right at those trees. But Kenny kept watching it. Maybe he fought through a good bit. Josh here taking the forehand route. Hoping to hook up, just a little left. Needed a little more hyzer on that, or just a little more inside, I guess.
Yeah, but he ended up in the fairway. He should have an open approach shot.
Yeah.
Oh, great shot.
That's a really good shot there from Alex, dragging it off the right side trees down the fairway. I would imagine he's pretty close in the circle for his birdie look.
Josh taking no time to just lay up for par. Didn't want to have anything to do with that slope. Let me see Scott here, or is that's Kenny?
That's Kenny, yep. Deep into the rough, trying to throw a high turning shot. And that was a really good effort there. Good speed control with the downhill slope behind the basket.
Scott just trying to pitch out a forehand. Still gets it inside the circle, but catches that last tree that he needed to miss. I don't imagine he'll have any trouble with that putt, but it still can be a little nervy. Really going through the routine, making sure he's hitting all his points.
And it sits for him. That could have been a much worse result. The basket honestly could have caught that one as well. Just a bad reaction off the chains.
Yeah.
It was a little right, but you want that one to fall in the final round.
It looked like it hit the bottom ring and that bounced it up maybe. I'm not sure how that one didn't stay. That'll be an unfortunate bogey for Scott. Alex parking the hole off the tee. Easy birdie for him. And our other 2 guys will just be cleaning up their pars. Yeah, these first couple, they you really want to try to get as many as you can without, trying to be too aggressive. Moves us into hole 5, our first par 4 of the round at 455 feet. You're playing uphill off the tee, trying to get the disc to shape right to the left, and as Alex shows you right there, skips up in the prime landing zone.
Yeah, that blue flag, we've seen it a couple times in the past 2 rounds. If you can get close to that, you're in prime position for your approach shot. Looks like Kenny's going to be going up the middle as well. You do see a wide hyzer on the outside sometimes.
Yep, good shot.
And that should work there. As long as you get up on the hill, I mean, the second shot is going to be technical no matter where you land. Josh pushing a little inside, but looks to get past the trees. He's relieved to see that didn't hit anything.
Still not as good as what you said. Yeah.
And all 4 of these guys showing you how to throw the shot. I mean, it's just a simple hyzer. The gap's pretty tight, though.
Yeah, but the gap in person is much tighter than it does look on camera.
So you see Josh here just a little pinched off. He'll have a flex forehand to the basket. Really just got to commit to getting over on the disc. Gets sneaky through the trees again. And he'll have a look for birdie from probably just about 15 feet.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to keep that low to negate a long comeback putt, and it worked out very well for him.
Scott sitting there, he's saying, I kind of like the forehand route from Josh, but might throw it. Looks like he's going with a slower disc to maybe put a little stronger move on it. Doesn't quite need the flex that Josh needed, but it needs some. He'll probably have a look inside the circle. It'll just be a little guarded from the trees on the right. There's a couple oaks and a magnolia over there that are pretty close.
Alex taking no time to line up his approach shot. It needs no time. That was parked.
Yeah, maybe the first couple of holes he was, thinking too much and said we're just going to go into routine slinging it.
That's what you got to do sometimes. You just got to go out there and let it rip and try and forget about scores or placement and
Really,
just see the disc fly.
Yeah, really just try to get out of your head.
It's okay.
Kenny not quite getting the turn that he wanted on that. He'll have a long look, but common theme on these greens is a sloping downhill putt. Giving it a good run though. Hits metal, doesn't go too far. Should have an easy par for him. See Scott here, he's in the circle, but might have to navigate through some of these big magnolia leaves.
And he does so well. He found a gap and nailed the putt from the knee for his birdie. That's where that spin putt really helps you. You don't need a lot of leg power or big gaps. Sometimes you just can spin it through there, and he does so, as well as Josh.
Josh shaking his head, knowing he got away with one there, or 2 there, really. But it's good to capitalize on those. Sometimes you need those for a really good round. Kenny tapping in his par, and Alex with the easy birdie.
Yeah, he looks so excited for that. That brings us into hole 6. Short par 4 at 405 feet, but there is a very tight gap off the tee and running all the way down the fairway. You'll see some guys throwing short with a putter. Looks like maybe that's what Alex is doing, and he tries to bend it, and it does land back in the fairway.
Also worth noting is there's a Mando to the right, so players would typically probably throw a big hyzer on this and just play it in the middle, but it forces you to play that tight gap that you were talking about. Josh putting a good move on this. Not too high, don't have any kind of reactions. Most of these guys are probably only going to try to throw it at max of 225 feet. Scott looks like he's got a faster disc in the hand, maybe. He might be trying to go for the eagle.
Yep, at 405 feet, it's very reachable, but the gap and the flight that you have to hit, it's very demanding. So you do see a lot of guys just, progressing 200 feet, trying to hit the gap, and throw in another 200 feet and take their par, get out of here, because you do see some big numbers. If you do try and go for it, let's say you hit an early tree and bounce into this rough, you may be taking a very large number. Kenny putting a smooth move on that one.
And that's pretty much how you'd want to dial in the quote-unquote layup on this. You see Alex throwing over the top here. It's a really good play if you've got the power for it, especially if you're further back. You don't really have to worry about any of the trees. You really don't want to push it too far left.
Yeah, we'll see where he ended up shortly.
Scott here with a patent pending, just a little touch putter shot. Catches a tree, unfortunately, and he'll probably have a long look for birdie, but it'll probably be a little guarded on that right side.
There's Josh looking skyward as well.
He's definitely got the power to do that. It really doesn't require too much, but you definitely have to throw an overstable disc, so overstable that it doesn't carry, it just knifes down. He also might be a little focused on that tree on his backside. We don't necessarily catch it coming in frame. He might have not gotten it far enough left. Kenny with the ideal tee shot if you're going for the birdie here, and easy putter shot. Scott having none of it. He'll take his par and walk off.
Alex Hazard did high Scott shot looked to be a little left, and there's the rough.
That tree was like, was it Watumbo?
No. Yeah, he got rejected.
You can see Josh here on the opposite side. Just didn't quite get it left enough. There's still a look there. Being a bigger guy from the knee, it's probably going to be kind of tough. Gives it the height, just a little too much height, and looks like both Alex and Josh will be taking the pars. Alex still having a little work. Not necessarily distance-wise, but going on a nature hike.
Yeah, able to convert though, not too much of a problem for him. And I mean, a lot of players are going to want the birdie on this hole, but a par is not a bad score.
I don't know if you saw that, but Josh had a stick that stayed attached as he was walking out.
Forrest trying to leave with him as our players move out of the trees into the open holes of the course. Really routine birdie there from Kenny. Not a problem there for Josh for his par. Checking to make sure the Forrest doesn't follow him again. Scott tapping his par as well. That will finish us up in the wood holes. We're coming into hole 7, our first open hole of the round. It's a par 3, 398 feet. Our players will be throwing over a bit of a valley. They will be exposed to the wind for the first time. There's wind always coming off this lake at different speeds. The players should have a bit of a headwind. There's a tree just left of the basket on the hillside that if you end up short could prevent you from having a decent look for your birdie. Most players are going to try and drive it into this hillside and get as close as possible.
Yeah, pushing it too long in this hole as well can really be a nervy putt. Kenny not quite getting it left enough. Maybe picked a disc that was not too stable. to get the distance, and he'll probably just be laying up from there. Alex looks to put a good move on this. This might be finishing a little early left. Yeah, it'll be guarded from by that tree, but he might be able to navigate through the limbs. And Josh here, he's definitely got the power to get there, but look, he slipped off the tee. That's going to be way left.
Yeah, but it looked like it pushed it nose up immediately out of his hand.
Scott also wanted to have the power to get there, but makes a similar mistake to Alex and Josh.
Yeah, the first time these players are throwing their disc in the wind this round, I'm sure they'll start dialing in those wind reads as they play along the dam.
So we'll probably see 4 layups here. Alex maybe will give it a run if he has a window. But I don't imagine Scott or Josh will have anything. And that is the textbook layup on that hillside. We've seen plenty of rollaways in the previous rounds.
Kenny was there for a few of them, so he smartly lays up. Not wanting anything to do with the downslope behind. No layups from Alex. That was hearted. Really good putt for his birdie.
Yeah, it's really tough to find a window through those limbs, but he's able to do so. I believe Josh laid up as well. Sometimes this green can get confusing. People will be throwing at the same time.
It's like 3 pars and 1 birdie for our card as we move into hole 8. Hole 8 is another par 3. It's going to be downhill 323 feet. In calm conditions, you may see some putters or some mids. Into the headwind our players are playing through, you may see some faster discs. The play is to put it out there wide, spike it in, and try and avoid going too deep as there is OB left and long of the basket. Alex draws it up perfectly. That's a really good shot.
Yeah, he was fortunate to get a check up there. The disc was overstable enough to not land in a skipping position. And like as you said, draws it up perfectly. Kenny here looking to follow suit. A little wide, maybe the wind will push it. Really needs that to get left and slow down, and he finds the out of bounds.
You have no drop zone on this hole, I believe, so he should be taking that where it went out.
Josh pushing it wider too, but has a lot more hyzer on the disc. Comes in and skips up to within 15 feet.
Yeah, well done from Josh making the correction after seeing Kenny. Let's see if Scott can do the same.
A little inside maybe.
But a great forward skip inside the circle.
It's the complete opposite of what it was doing Friday.
3 of our players on the dance floor. 1 putting for par, looks like just outside the circle. A much calmer day than the previous 2 days of the tournament.
That's a great par save from Kenny. This one is definitely one you want to get. It's one of the shorter par 3s on the course and plays downhill.
And without much wind today, I'm sure it's playing much easier. If you didn't see round 1, the lake was almost white capping with the constant wind they were getting.
There we go. Good solid hit from Scott. He's been putting strong this round.
Alex taking not much time at all to drop in his birdie. Josh, the closest, I'm sure is thinking he'll do the same. Still going through his routine, checking the wind, and brings it home.
Yeah, I wish I was as tall as Josh. He almost puts down at the basket. That moves us into hole 9, a par 3, 354 feet. You'll find you have the OB right, which doesn't really come into play unless you get the disc turned over. Most of these players are throwing a hyzer with a really overstable distance driver and trying to check it into the hillside and hopefully not get a roll. You'll find the green is clean cut where you have the rough. See, this is what happens with the green. You have roll downs to the bottom outside the circle. It's a good chance to jump putt at the basket, give it a good run. But you do have the opportunity to hit metal and roll back down again.
Yeah, I'm sure Alex not too thrilled with that. Throwing a great shot, basically parking it and rolling back down the hill.
Josh pushing it to the base of the hill, inside the circle.
It's a lucky hole.
It's you hear one of our competitors saying it's a lucky hole.
Yeah, down there by the OB.
It really does require a little bit of luck to stay on the green.
You can have almost the same air and then go down.
Scott looking to follow up Josh, probably playing it to the base. Kind of rolls backwards a little bit, but he's still inside the circle. Kenny here keeping it a little lower than the other guys. Still catches edge.
And the carousel rolls again. So a lot of uphill putts from our competitors coming up. It's as you saw all of our players roll down the hill on their tee shots on these putts. It's either a make or an air ball is your best result. If you catch metal, you might be putting from down the hill again.
Unfortunately, that sits for Kenny. And you can see now, especially with Alex running down the hill earlier, it's a very steep slope. The basket is probably above Josh's head right now. Scott's been pretty hot on the green. He's definitely looking to run this, see if he keeps that going.
Yeah, really good putt.
Josh doing so as well.
Refusing to be big putted, he knocks it down as well.
Those guys made it look too easy. That's a really tough putt.
I thought you were talking about them running up the hill, but yeah, those putts are really good. We got as our players get 2 birdies and 2 pars.
High knees, high knees.
And that will wrap up our front 9 coverage of round 3. Please come back and join us for the back 9 of the Discraft 2022 Big Rip Classic presented by Ledgestone. See you soon.
Like, comment, subscribe.